Good morning, dear students. I hope you're doing good. I'm Shara. I'm going to teach you Global Leadership Management IBM 546 course this semester. So we will start with Chapter 1 as we are going to define general terms of understanding behavior, human relations, and performance, and how to be happy, because they are the basics of building a good leadership style and good leaders. So, what are the learning outcomes of this chapter? It's to explain why human relations skills are important, also to discuss the goal of human relations, then describe the relationship between individual and group behavior and organizational performance. So it's like a triangle between individuals, groups, and organization. Also, we will describe the history of study of human relations briefly, as well as we will state some of the trends and challenges in the field of human relations and the guidelines for effective human relations, as well as three approaches to handle human relation problems, and we will discuss which is the most effective approach. So before I start with human relations and the myths and realities about human relations, I would like to start with what is leadership, since our course is about leadership. So leadership, it's a style, a special style in order to organize a group of people and guide them toward achieving the shared goal. So there should be a shared goal. If it's either a community goal or an organization goal, it will be achieved through the effort of a group of people guided by one person, which is the leader. So this is the leader and leadership. So let's talk about the human relations, as they are the base and foundations of building leadership trend and the contemporary leadership styles. So there are some myths about human relations. Myth one is technical skills are more important than human relation skills. So maybe in older times, few centuries ago, they believed that technical skills are more important than human relation skills. But later on, they found out this is not true. And the truth is the soft skills are as much as important, the technical skills, or maybe sometimes more important, because by end of the day, we human beings are all working together in order to achieve organizational goals, and in order to work together properly and effectively with a good performance, with a higher production, we need soft skills, which are good communications, good understanding, active listening, helping each other, teamwork, and those are called the soft skills, which they belong to human relation skills. So the truth is, job recruiters are looking for candidates with soft skills, also called people skills. Myth two is human relations says human relations is just common sense. The truth is, developing good relations is critical. It's not just a common sense. Not everyone is good in their human and personal relations. So one can build and develop their own skills and improve their relationship with others, because it's important to personal and professional success. So if you want to be successful in your life with your friends, with your spouse, with your family, siblings, parents, with your coworkers, with your classmates, in your professional life, with your colleagues and manager, you need to develop your skill regarding your human relations. Okay, so again, we go back to myth one or truth one, which is building a good soft skill is as important as technical skills, and not everyone shall have it, but people can learn it and develop it. The third myth is leaders are born, not made. And the truth is not like that, because the research tell us leadership skills can be learned. So it's not important, or it's not necessary. One can be born with leadership skills, but there are people who can learn it throughout their life, through experience, through learning, through education, through courses, through trainings, workshops, through reading, and through knowing other people. So I will bring up some questions. Maybe you can think about it and answer it. First, we will start with human relation means and interactions with people. So when you hear about the statement human relations, what do you think about? What does this statement mean to you? Human relations means interactions with people. So think about it for a moment and get some ideas. All right. So a definition of human relation can be as follows. Human relation refers to how people interact, communicate, and work together, especially in professional environments. So it's about interaction, communication, and working together, and especially we're in professional environments because we need effectiveness and efficiency among teams, and this cannot be achieved without a good understanding and communication between them. And in order to be a good communicator, a good listener, a good team player, you need to improve your human relation skills. So relevance to global leadership. In global settings, leaders manage people from different cultures and backgrounds. Strong human relations skills help what? Help build trust among those different team players and solve problems among them, solve the misunderstandings among them due to diversity, due to different backgrounds and cultures that might happen randomly or rationally without any specific purposes behind them. And it leads diverse teams effectively. So in global settings, human relations are more important than the local settings because you work and you deal with different people from different backgrounds, cultures. So one can think in a different way than the other. In order to find a path that all agrees on, that all has mutual understanding, you need to improve those human relation skills. So as an example, a global leader working in Japan and Germany must adapt their communication and leadership style based on cultural expectations. Now, we move to human relations and its goals. So to create a win-win situation by satisfying employee. So before we talk about this, let me tell you what is win-win situation. A win-win situation means how both parties are happy and how both parties think they are in their winning side, they won. So making both parties satisfied, meaning that there is a win-win situation. So to create a win-win situation by satisfying employee needs while achieving organizational objectives. So in such case, you satisfied what employees needs, what your team needs, and at the same time you achieve the organizational objectives. So the organization is happy, top management is happy, and employees are happy. So we created a win-win situation in such case. So win-win situation, it's when the organization and the employees are both get what they want. So think about it. What does this mean? For a moment, you can discuss it with your classmates. And can this business definition be applied to your personal life or not? So think about it for a moment, discuss it with your classmates, and answer the questions. All right. Now we move to another slide, why human relation skills are so important. Of course, there are many importance of human relation skills. Here we can mention some of them. So as we mentioned before, it improves communication because it helps you to avoid misunderstanding. As long as we have good communication, meaning that there are good understanding, and when there is a good understanding, meaning that we can reach agreements and work on shared goals. Another importance is boosts teamwork. So when we are going on the same direction, let's say when we are on the same boat, meaning that we can work together. So it's boost the teamwork and encourage collaboration and cooperation among the team players or employees. So when number 1 and number 2 is being achieved, so the employees are more happy. And when they are more happy, they become more satisfied. So happy teams perform better. So we achieve better performance. And in such case, it reduces conflict as well. So when you communicate better, when you have a better teamwork, when you are satisfied, when there are understanding among each other, so the conflicts and misunderstandings will be reduced. So it is a good interpersonal skill and help management to prevent disputes. And when all these things happen, it's very important for leadership because it makes the leader's job easier, because leaders must inspire, guide, and support the others. And when they see their team in a good understanding on the same direction for achieving goals and mutual agreement, so leaders can guide easier, can support easier, and they are inspiring and inspired by their teams. We have an example here. A manager with poor people skill may lose talented employees because talented employees would like a good manager with rich skills, with good skills, while one with strong human relations skills keeps the team motivated and the employees will not think about changing their jobs, turnovers will be reduced or reduced. So the main goal for human relation is to create a healthy, respectful and productive working environment when both organization goals and employees' needs are met. So this is the main goal, to create a healthy environment, a respectful environment, and productive as well. So there are as well sub-goals for human relations, such as encouraging open communication, respecting differences among the team members, promoting mutual understanding and agreement as well, also supporting employees' growth and well-being. So it's not only about producing more or performing better in the sake of achieving organizational goal, but also for the employees' growth and well-being as well. So Leadership Insight says leaders use human relation to align individual motivation with company goals. Now we move to behavior, human relation, and organizational performance. So how these three things connect: behavior, human relation, and organizational performance. So behavior is the actions and attitudes of employees and leaders, is how leaders, managers, and employees act and behave, their actions. While human relations is the quality of interaction as work. So how they interact, what is the quality of their interaction of the leaders and employees and the staff at work. And the performance is the result achieved by individual or teams. So as the results the result of behavior and human relations will be the performance of that particular team and organization. So as much as the behavior and human relations are better, the performance will be better, and vice versa. So the concept is positive behavior will create better relationship and stronger teamwork, and it will lead to higher productivity. And higher productivity means a good organizational performance. So we have an example here. A respectful team that communicates well will meet deadlines faster than one where people argue and avoid each other. So human relation in past, present, and future. So in past, there were top-down management, so like the top management decided things and all the others has to follow. Little concern for emotions and team well-being. So they mostly thought about how to increase production without thinking about their team's well-being or emotions and human relations. But at the present, there is more focus on emotional intelligence, teamwork, and good communication. While we are expecting in the future these relations change to AI, human collaboration, diversity, remote teams, cultural sensitivity, because we are living in a world that all the different cultures are interacting among each other because of the massive improvement and development of technology. People are contribute to other cultures, work together in different organizations in different cultures, countries. So there are more diversity among teams and among organizations. So of course there will be cultural sensitivity. So this will increase day by day. So this is what we are expecting for the future. Okay. So an example here is today's leaders use coaching methods instead of giving orders, because giving order were in the past, but coaching is the present of leadership and management styles. So levels of behavior are three, which are individuals, then groups, and organizational, because first an individual behaves. Later, these behaviors will change into a team behavior or a group of people's behavior, and several groups together, they will create the organizational behavior. So because several groups together, they shape an organization, and their behavior all will show a behavior of that organization. So individual and group level behavior is first the individual itself, then the group, how they shape their behavior in a certain way and agree on a certain direction. Then individual behavior influences the group behaviors and performance. Also, effective teamwork begins with you and ends with team level outcomes, you as an individual and your team as an outcome. So group behavior consists of what? Of the things two or more people do and say as they interact. If we see here, in the down of the photo, there are a group of employees. Each one has its own character and behavior. But all together, when they interact together, they decide to work together, they will conclude with a certain behavior that's being shared among them. There's after that supervisor and managers. So there are different groups in each department. And all of them together, they will create the organization's behavior. So the relationship between individual and group behavior and organization performance, let's start with the definition of performance. Performance is the extent to which expectations or objectives has been met. So once an organization sets some goals and sets some standards of how to achieve those goals, they are expecting their teams to achieve those objectives and goals according to the given standards. So when they evaluate and compare the results with the given standards based on the goal that is being set since the beginning, this will show us the performance of that individual and those teams. Human relations affects individual and group behavior and the resulting effects on organizational performance, of course, as we mentioned before. So we move to another definition, which is systems effect. So all people in the organization are affected by at least one other person because they interact with each other, so they will be affected by each other. And each person affects the whole group or organization. So it's a set of two or more interactive elements, and it's a challenge to the management. Because they need to develop high performance individuals and groups and link them together as the whole system. So when there are misunderstanding among the groups, when there are disagreement among the groups, it will be a challenge to the management and the leaders how to make them understand each other and cooperate with each other. So if either the individual or the group is ineffective, then the organization cannot succeed or survive. So this is the biggest challenge for management, and they need to come up with solutions. So human relation is a multidisciplinary science. Why? Because of several reasons, such as like the behavioral, because like human relations, part of it is behavioral sciences, how individuals behave. Part of it is organization behavior. And also behavioral sciences began development in the late 40s. And of course, it has evolved until now. So it's primarily based on psychology and sociology. So both psychological sciences and sociological sciences are involved in the human relations, because psychology is why people behave the way they do, while sociology is how group dynamics affect organizational performance. So social psychology, sociology, individual psychology, they are part of the human relations. Also, the sciences of economics, political sciences are contributed, because by end of the day, economics and politics affects the individual's lifestyle, how they shape their life, how they make their decisions, where they decide to work, how their emotions will be affected, how their psychology will change, how they behave within groups. So they are all contributed in the human relations sciences. So if we talk about a brief history of human sciences and theories of human relations, we can first start with what is human relations theory. So human relations theory focuses on the importance of people in the workplace and how their feelings, relationships, motivation, and communication affect the organizational success. So it basically focuses on people and how important they are and how their feelings, relationships, motivation level, and communication style will affect the organizational success. So it shifted leadership thinking from machines and control to people and collaboration. Because before human relation theories and sciences, the classical schools of management, they were mostly thinking about their individuals and employees as machines, and they were aiming to control them while they were expecting them to be very productive. But this new theory, or human relation theory, changed this concept to people and collaboration. So the theory of human relation thinks that people are very important assets of organizations. And when we understand, we as managers, we as organizations, when we understand people, their emotions, their relationship, and satisfy their needs, and teach them how to collaborate, the production for the organization, or organizational production levels and performance will be increased. So a brief history timeline. So before 1900, there were classical management schools. So the workers were treated like machines, and the focus was on efficiency of the organization. Early 1900s, scientific management came up led by Frederick Taylor. So the focus was, and the characteristics were on time and motion studies and little concern for workers' emotions. Then in 1920s and 30s, like between 1920s to 30s, human relation movement established, and it was recognized as the role of social needs, emotions, and group dynamics. Then we have post-World War II, which is behavioral science, introduced motivation theories, leadership styles. Then today we have emotional intelligence and diversity, which focuses on well-being, communication, culture, and engagement. So the key theories and contributions, we have Frederick Taylor, which is the father or the leader of the scientific management in 1911. Focuses on maximizing the productivity, and it treated workers as tools in organization. So this theory has been criticized for ignoring human needs, but it contributed in paving the way for efficiency, but lacked people focus. After that, we have Alton Mayo, which is Hawthorne studies between 1924 to 1932, which is the father of human relation movement, and found that employees work better when they feel valued and listened to. So Alton Mayo introduced the idea of informal groups and motivation by attention. And how does this affected the workers, the Hawthorne? It affected the workers perform better when observed and supported. So this theory or this movement believes that workers perform better, workers achieve better when they are observed and supported. When they are, of course, listened to, supports and observed and supported, meaning that when they are listened to, when they feel valued, when the organization gives value to them. After that, Abraham Maslow came up with a hierarchy of needs in 1943, and it focuses on 5 levels, which is called the pyramid of Abraham Maslow. It starts with physical needs, then safety needs, after that belonging, then esteem needs, and self-actualization on the top of the pyramid. So it mostly motivates the employees, and this motivation comes from meeting those 5 needs in level and in order. So employees need more than a salary because they need respect, purpose, and growth. So working is not about just receiving a salary, it's about respect, it's about having a purpose to work there, and growth, self-growth. Because one person, when they fill out their physical needs, such as having food, having a shelter, and after that they fill out their safety needs, such as being safe in a place without feeling scared and exposed to injury or unsafety matters. After that, they want to feel belong to what? Belong to a family, belong to a community, to groups, to society. When they fill out these 3 needs, they reach a self-esteem. So they want to build up their selves in order to have self-esteem and improve themselves. So when reached level 4 of these needs, they want to reach the top of the pyramid, which is self-actualization, meaning that you want to achieve goals, prizes, achievements for yourself, and show the society that you are of importance. So this is called self-actualization. After that, we have another scientist which is called Douglas McGregor, which developed the theory X and theory Y in 1960s. So theory X is about the people who dislike work. They need to be told what to do, and they need to be controlled. While theory Y is the opposite. People enjoy work, and they believe that work is natural, so they seek to take responsibility of things. And human relations supports theory Y, because leaders should empower their staff, not control. So the impact of these theories on global leadership can be as follows. So today's leaders apply human relations theory by what? By practicing empathy and active listening, by motivating their diverse team, by promoting well-being and positive work cultures, also leading with emotional intelligence. So it's important for nowadays leaders to be intelligent emotionally. So it's important for them to practice active listening. It's important for them to motivate their teams and care about their well-being. Also, we have another scientist who's called Chris Argyris. He was an American organizational theorist and professor. He worked at Harvard University and passed away in 2013. He's known for his major contributions to organizational learning, leadership, and organizational development. So he developed 2 theories. One of them is called single loop and double loop learning. Single loop learning is correcting errors without changing underlying policies or assumptions. So without changing policies, correcting individuals' errors. While double loop learning is questioning and modifying underlying assumptions and values and policies. So in the second one, when an error happens, they don't only look for fixing the error or going on the same policies, but they would rather think about the policies one more, they review it, they revise it, if there might be something or a gap in the policies need to be modified in order to avoid error. So this is double loop learning. So this concept is widely used in leadership studies, organizational behavior, and management research nowadays. Also, Chris Argyris, he developed another theory which is called theory in use versus opposed theory. So opposed theory is what people say they believe, while theory in use is what their actions actually show they believe. That's why it's called theory in use, because when you come up with your actions, it's what you are doing. So he argued that organizations often fail because there is a gap between what leaders say and what they actually practice. So it's not only what leaders say, but do they really act as what they say or not? If not, so there is a gap. But if yes, then things are going on the right direction. So this is what he argued. So if we sum up those theories in this table, we can say a human relation theory came with Alton Mayo. And the key message is people perform better when they feel valued. Then it's after that Abraham Maslow came with his pyramid and motivation. It says that motivation depends on meeting human needs. After that, Douglas McGregor, he believed that leaders should believe in people's potential and deal with each type of employee based on their potentials and capabilities and characteristics as well. Also, after that, we have Chris Argyris. He argues that adults want to grow, not to be controlled. Now we move to happiness and developing human relation skills. So, why happiness matters? Why we are talking about happiness? Because it increases motivation and creativity. It reduces stress and absenteeism. An employee who's happy, they will less be absent at work, and also it leads to better performance. So I believe these points are clear. When you are happy, everything about you becomes positive. You will perform better, you will be more creative, you will be more present, more motivated, and less stressed. So how to develop human relation skills in order to achieve happiness? We need to practice empathy, meaning that we need to feel for each other and understand each other and listen carefully and actively to each other for better communication. Give and receive feedback always in the sake of improvement, and stay positive and respectful. So there's a real world tip says that happy workplace attract and keep talented. And this is a major leadership advantage. So happiness and developing human relations skills. Organizations realize that happy workers are more productive. So this is very simple and clear. Most people believe that happiness comes from their relationships. So common belief about attaining happiness that don't work. We have individualism and hedonism. Individualism says that doing things that only benefit yourself, while hedonism is doing only what feels good. So there's assessment here. I will leave this assessment for you. It's like a small quiz. How likable are you? And you will continue the quiz on this and get the marks for yourself. So this is a self-assessment. After that, we move to 10 human relation guidelines, which is mentioned in this chart, and we will talk about one of them solely. Being positive, thinking and being optimistic, being genuinely interested in others, call people by their name, help others, smile and develop a sense of humor, listen to people, create a win-win situation, think before you act, and apologize. So let's talk about them one by one. Okay, think and be optimistic. So these are guidelines in order to improve your human relationships. Think and be optimistic. You will ask yourself, is your glass half full or half empty? If you say half empty, that means you're not optimistic, you're pessimistic. But if you say it's half full, meaning that you are optimistic. So successful people think and act optimistically. Another point is being positive. Praise and encourage others. Don't complain too much. Don't go around criticizing all the time and pulling people down, condemning or spreading rumors. Another point is being genuinely interested in others, meaning that respecting others, listening to them. So one of the reasons you like a person is that he or she shows a genuine interest in you. So try to smile and develop a sense of humor. A smile shows interest and caring and helps develop positive relationships and being willing to laugh at yourself. And it's very important to call people by their name because it shows an interest in them and makes them feel important. Also, make effort to learn their names and remember the cultural standards. Of course, remembering cultural standards is above all. So another point is listening to people. Encourage others to talk about themselves and listen to them with showing interest. So that means listen actively. Helping others is another guideline. Successful leaders focus on others' well-being and they focus on helping them. So don't use others for your advantage, for your personal advantage. Those who are being used usually catch on and the relationship is hurt. So think first before you act or talk. Before you say and do things, think about the possible consequences. Remember how you say things and as important as what you say. So don't use offensive language and feel your emotions, but control your behavior in order not to hurt others. Also, being right is not good enough if it hurts human relationships. So you need to be very careful. You need to think before you act and talk. Apologize. We are all capable of hurting each other. We are all capable of making mistakes. So taking the responsibility of our actions and our words and admitting our mistakes is not a mistake itself, but it's a very important thing. So a sincere apology, even if you think you were right, can help repair and create more satisfactory relationship. So create a win-win situation. The best way to get what you want is to help others and make everyone happy. So when everyone is happy, meaning that you created a win-win situation. So handling human relation problems. So human relation problems often occur when the psychological contract is not met. What is a psychological contract? It's the shared expectations between people. So when a problem arises, you must decide whether to avoid the problem or solve it. And it's usually best to solve it, because if some problem remains unsolved, another problem might occur and they will be accumulated over each other, then the solution will be more difficult later on. So when a problem arises, it's better to solve rather than avoiding. So we have three ways to handle the problems. First is changing the other person. So both parties usually contribute to the problem, because problem cannot be happened by only one party. It's usually come from more than one party, two or more. So blaming the other party without taking some responsibility usually results in resentment and defensive behavior from the other party. So this is not the perfect solution. Or maybe by changing the situation, remove yourself from the environment. This might not be, again, a perfect solution. What is the other way? Is changing yourself. Your own behavior is the only thing you can control. So make some change in yourself, apologize, and try to understand the other party. So examine others' behavior to determine why they are behaving that way. And remain assertive. So when you change your behavior, others may also change. So this is the best solution or the best way to handle problems. So the three parts of habit. Now we are moving to the three parts of habit and describe the three parts of developing a new habit. So we talked about changing yourself. So that means developing a new habit. So the cue reminds you to do your new habit, and the example we have rain shoes left near your bed. So the routine is do the new habit, then the example is run first thing in the morning. So you need to start with yourself, and you might reward yourself if you start to change. So positive thing to reinforce new habits. So reward yourself when you learn a new habit. So what it makes you feeling good about yourself, feeling healthier, such as weight loss, more energy, and having a healthy breakfast. So these are new things that you can adapt to and learn. And thank you so much for listening to this lesson. Have a nice day.